CNN senior political analyst and former presidential advisor to Republicans and Democratic presidents, David Gergen, CNN senior political analyst, Gloria Borger, and Maria Teresa Peterson, executive director of Voto Latino. You know, David, when you look at the electoral map, it's so different than what you hear from conservative websites like Drudge Report about what's going on.
It is, and it's different from actually if you see from some of the tracking polls, the Rasmussen, Zogby, Gallup. Those are like the three daily tracking polls that a lot of people pay attention to right now. And they have shown some narrowing. But you look at the battleground states, and there's the big significant leads. Obama's holding on to them, and John King just moved some states over.
But it seems so interesting. I mean,
toward Obama.
Both, no matter who you talk to, seem to kind of throw up their hands and say, frankly, we don't kind of know what's going to happen on election night. But then some say, I mean, it could be a landslide, it could be a squeaker.
Well, pollsters also, this is a strange year for pollsters, Anderson. They're not sure if they're reaching everybody because kids have cell phones and they can't reach them on their cell phones, and so there's a lot of uncertainty about that. But I would look at the state polls rather than the overarching sort of neck and neck polls, because I think they tell you a lot more.
Yeah, what we do know is that both candidates have concentrated in these battleground states. They put a lot of resources up. They spent a lot of personal time. And for Obama to have a significant lead in these big battleground states says an awful lot that he is about his commanding position. I think if you look at that, you have to say he's
Maria Teresa, when you think about these undecided voters, which way do you think they're going to go?
I think they're on the fence for a reason, but what's more interesting is that all these battleground states, everyone keeps talking about the different voters, but they're not talking about the demographic changes that we're seeing in these states. It's true for Colorado, Nevada, Indiana, North Carolina, seismic shift of increasingly Latino voters. And you're also seeing we're at 95 million youth voters, too, that will help determine that election. And I think that's what's exciting, and folks are still trying to figure out, how do you reach them, engage them, ensure that they come out.
And Latino voters going overwhelmingly for Barack Obama here, a real missed opportunity for John McCain.
It's a real missed opportunity, and I wanted to go back. The Latino voters, what we understand is they're going about 2-to-1 for Obama, much heavier than, and could be the opportunity for of a lifetime for the Democrats if they can bring those Latino voters on.
I mean, you think about all that talk over the last, 8 years ago about reaching out to Latino voters by Republicans, and then the whole immigration issue has just kind of blown that out of the water.
Right, and
it's history.
Maria Teresa, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's history repeating itself. We saw the exact same debate happen in 1993 with Pete Wilson with his proposition of 187, which was very anti-immigrant. And what folks forget is that that time California was a red state, and what he did by proposing this legislation basically ensured that California became a blue state, and that's where the Democrats really have an opening to ensure to solidify. But they have to talk about the issues, and they have to talk about the economy.
But John McCain thought he had an opportunity with Latino voters precisely because of immigration, right? Precisely because he was on the side of lots of Latinos against lots of conservative Republicans.
That's true.
And that hasn't happened.
Well, I think part of it, but what happened unfortunately with McCain was that if he admitted himself that today he would not vote for the same legislation that he was proposing. And I think that's where what lost a lot of interest among Latino voters.
The larger point here, it seems to me, is that if Obama is successful, he's got the makings of a new Democratic majority that he's putting together, a new coalition of Democratic voters. This is what made Franklin Roosevelt so successful in the New Deal. He put together a whole new coalition. That's what you want to do for dominance over time. He's got the makings of it.
We want to talk about this event. We want to talk about this event, Bill Clinton appearing with Barack Obama. We anticipate this. We're going to have our panel talk about that as well.